I'm John Kovach. I've been a newsman, a sports announcer, and a football coach, but the one constant, since I was old enough to stand next to a stream with my dad, has been fishing. I've waded rapids, stood on slick rocks, hacked through ice, and been tossed about the deck of a boat. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do, and join me on this journey. Welcome to Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop. We're back on the Deerfield River in Massachusetts. It's a cold St. Patrick's Day, yet we're on a pre-Easter egg hunt with the Deerfield River Watershed chapter of Trout Unlimited, looking for more evidence that fish are spawning in the wild here. Last fall, more than 100 reds were found in a 7.5 mile stretch of this river. Now the volunteers are going back to see what's developed.
One right there in front of Eric. Let's see. And there's another one right there.
Right here.
Yeah.
And they're both dead. They're opaque.
There's another. That one. Oh, is that one right there?
All right, bring her up.
There's one.
Yep. You guys are counting as we go here, Sean?
I am now.
All right.
6.
All right, let's put her back in there.
This area was highly involved. We found over 40 reds in this particular area, and most of them are dewatered. And so we've already opened up one red here and found primarily dead eggs in that red that we had previously found eggs. We did find one live one, and so now we're going to go ahead and excavate out very carefully the reds that we have previously identified as having eggs and determine what in fact is going on. So we've just started that process. We're also going to be doing velocity readings. There's no velocity in here whatsoever because it's dewatered. But out here in the main part of the river, we did find reds, and we're going to be doing some velocity studies in that respect as well. What we want to determine is what impact are the operations of Brookfield having on these spawning trout, specifically within the reds, these dewatered reds compared to the ones that aren't dewatered, and what kind of survivability. This is a very preliminary study, and it's going to require more so. But this certainly is giving us evidence of what's going on in the river, that in fact there's a substantial
No push. Okay, there it is. Yeah, there's one here. Then down on the left, in the pocket, there's a bunch too. They're all alive.
22 live.
I'm poking. What we are wondering in particular is whether reds in shallower water are experiencing higher mortality than the eggs in deeper water. So far today, we've actually not been able to find all that many eggs. We have found a few reds that have had significant numbers of eggs, including one that had upwards of 70 eggs, and most of those were alive. So right now what we're trying to do is continue our search. We're trying to find more reds with eggs so that we have a better sample size, so to speak, so that we can make those comparisons between the deep water eggs and the shallow water eggs with respect to survivorship.
And some of these eggs have been sent for DNA testing. Previously, we have found that primarily browns, but a few rainbows, my understanding.
Right. Yeah, so back in the fall, when we did the first round of these surveys, so to speak, we collected eggs from over 30 reds. We had 37 of 101 reds with eggs found in them. And we collected at least a few eggs from each of those 37 reds, and we had most of those eggs, or at least one egg from each of those 30-some reds, analyzed for DNA. And those eggs, among the 30-some that we had analyzed, most of those, all but 3 in fact, were brown trout.
It's kind of interesting that you have a couple of rainbows spawning in the fall when typically they're supposed to be spawning in the spring.
Businesses are also joining in supporting this project, this study on the Deerfield River. Thomas & Thomas, the rod manufacturer, made a significant donation for the egg DNA analysis. The Deerfield Fly Shop recently donated to these efforts.
But we have raised quite a bit of money. We still are a couple thousand short, and we're going to expand this study, so any financial assistance would be welcome.
And who's working with you on this project?
So far, Mass Fish and Wildlife has been assisted us with regards to the protocol. One of their fish biologists has been out with us. We're also working with U.S. Fish and Wildlife. They've provided equipment for the velocity, and they also were instrumental in the development of the protocols. We are meeting with them. We're going to have a roundtable on April 24th. We're going to get a whole bunch of people together, including UMass and those folks at U.S. Fish and Wildlife and Mass Fish and Wildlife, to talk about what we know about the river, what we don't know, what we want to know, and then develop a partnership to have a good scientific analysis of this river, which is long overdue.
Information on how to donate or volunteer, as well as updates on the project, can be found at DeerfieldRiverTroutUnlimited.com. We'll be back with more Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop, right after this. Well, there's still a bite out on the water. Most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
At Pamby Motors, we're not worried about being the biggest dealership. We're focused on being the best. We're dedicated to giving you the best experience we can. The Pamby Motors team is here to help you choose the right Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram in a friendly, pressure-free environment. And right now, during Ram Truck Month, get up to $14,000 off on all in-stock 2017 Ram 1500 pickups. Come in and see us for details. Visit Pamby Motors, Route 7 in Ridgefield, PambyZone.com.
UK Gourmet is the largest specialty grocer in the area, featuring food from England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. Over 80 teas to choose from and a brilliant assortment of biscuits to go with them. Over 70 cheeses from grass-fed cows, which makes a smashing difference in taste. The creamiest chocolate you'll ever taste using no artificial colors or preservatives. So say hooray for UK Gourmet, 78 Stony Hill Road in Bethel, or visit ukgourmet.us.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care gives you direct access to orthopedic specialists fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care can help. Open 7 days a week now at 3 locations. The iPark Building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien, or in the Westport Medical Center at 323 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Go to myorthoct.com, like them on Facebook.
Welcome back to Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop. We are in Monroe, Connecticut. We're visiting with Jonathan Milo. Jonathan, an angler, an artist. He has a show at his hometown library at the Monroe Edith Wheeler Library, about to open up. I'll ask the tough question first. Are you an artist who's an angler who's an artist, or is it not that simple?
Well, I've been an artist longer, so I guess you'd have to say I'm an artist who's an angler, because I don't consider myself a really great fisherman. I certainly get skunked more than I do well on whether it's streams or bass fishing, but I guess I do a lot more painting than fishing, and I hope to do more fishing. It's just a matter of arranging it all the times and getting the chance to do it.
So how did the painting of fish and fishing come about?
Well, I had an epiphany of sorts when I was in art school, and I took a trip out to Montana, and once I got out there and I just saw the wide open vistas and the wildlife and the streams, we were staying on a stream right there, and I just my whole world kind of changed, and I knew right away that I wanted to be a wildlife painter, paint fish, outdoor scenes, landscapes. Everything just sort of really came into focus, so to say. So I call that kind of my epiphany. That was a big turning point in my career, and it really put me on this track that I've been on now for
what was it that drew you to painting over, say, photography or sketching?
Well, I've been an artist since I was a little kid. I've always been drawing and painting, and some of those other disciplines I just never really took to. I mean, I use photography for my work, and I shoot some of my own stuff, and I don't consider myself really a photographer, just to get what I need to get, and that's all. But it's always been really drawing and painting for me.
Are the images that you depict, are they based on observations? Are they fish you've caught? Are they an amalgamation of experience?
Mostly fish that I've experienced, like bass and trout are really kind of what I do most. And I'm just starting to kind of venture into some saltwater species, but personally I'm a freshwater angler, fly fishing for trout, spinning for bass, and that's kind of what I do. And so that's mostly what really captures me and what interests me right now.
Which do you start with, bass or trout?
I guess I've been fishing for bass and panfish longer. Like my first experience fishing as a kid was on Lake Forest in Bridgeport. I grew up there. Mm-hmm. So that was my my first experience fishing. So fly fishing for trout came later, like in my maybe in my 20s, right after college, when really I had a neighbor who was a mentor to me, and he was a great fly fisherman, hunter, outdoors. I mean, just the quintessential kind of. He would look like kind of the L.L. Bean model, like from the 1950s. He was just a great guy, and he kind of taught me about fly fishing and took me places and exposed me to a lot of the streams and stuff here in Connecticut. So trout came later, definitely.
A lot of underwater images. Are you diving or using an underwater camera to capture the images necessary or get the visuals?
Yeah, I have gone snorkeling more than once to capture some of the underwater stuff, and used underwater cameras and streams too to get some of the rushing water effect and things that would come in streams. But yeah, I've done some snorkeling and definitely used underwater cameras to help me for reference. Yeah.
I have to say it's really cool to be here, see the Bassmasters that are home in my house, and see the actual painting it's based on.
Oh, so you get Bassmaster.
Right there. I get Bassmaster too. Now, is that Ray Scott in the cowboy hat?
Yes, it is. This was the painting that they wanted was for the 50th anniversary of the magazine, and they happened to do a redesign at the same time. So the whole thing was, it was based on a painting from the 70s or 80s that they used. They wanted me to revisit it.
I think I remember that painting, actually.
Okay, yeah, so it's similar in the composition. Ray Scott has got his cowboy hat on, which he always had. They wanted, of course, a younger Ray Scott, and kind of look kind of retro. The painting itself is a little bit more yellow and brighter, but anyhow, they wanted the retro, the old rowboat, the old outboard, and of course, they're trying to give them,
like an Arkansas type scene there.
Yeah, the cypress trees, definitely southern, bass fishing swamp almost kind of effect. And they even wanted me to include a little 50 in the painting, so because of the 50th anniversary.
Right.
So there's a little hidden 50 in there in the sunlight. So.
Now I got to look for it. Now I got to find. I like the bass sticker on the back of the boat too. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, they wanted that. They wanted that. So it was they talked to me about this like in September, and then we talked about it for a couple of months, and then I did the painting. I asked them, can I do it kind of retro with the yellow sky, the way the old illustrators used to do a lot of the outdoor life covers and things. They would have those yellow skies, even if it was Alaska. It would just look kind of it always worked, so I was really dying to try it. Yellow sky, and I put it on canvas, and I used acrylics, rather than oils, but just because of the deadline. But I just wanted it to look like an old vintage kind of oil painting.
It looks it. And are you influenced at all by those old outdoor magazines? Cause I just grew up loving those.
Yeah. Oh, I love them too. I have so many that are on file that I used for reference. Some of those guys, they were such good draftsmen. They really knew how to draw the figure. They could draw any position, whether it was a grizzly bear coming at somebody or whatever it was. They were just phenomenal artists and draftsmen. And they didn't have the things, they didn't have Google Images to grab everything they needed back then. They just were such good, like I say, draftsmen and artists to be able to pull it off. So yeah, all those kind of things I gathered a whole bunch before I did this, even just to, stoke the fire and make sure that I really tried to pull off a vintage kind of a cover. So,
how frequently are your paintings on the cover of Bassmaster?
This is my 5th one, so I've done 5 covers, and they usually use photography most of the time. And but every once in a while, like I said, this was a special issue because of the 50th, and they really wanted to go with some artwork. So occasionally, a couple times a year maybe, or once a year, they seem to ask.
What other magazines have you worked with?
Well, they have a sister publication called Bass Times. Mm-hmm. They do stuff for them every month too. And American Angler, Fly Fishing Magazine, and Gray's Sporting Journal. Outdoor Life, I got my, when I first started as an illustrator, Outdoor Life was kind of one of my first clients. They gave me a lot of black and white stuff, small things that were interior, and I worked for them for about 4 years actually, so that was a really nice start. Orvis, Bass Pro Shops, they just bought a few of my paintings for the store down in Bridgeport.
Oh, that's cool.
So I've got a few paintings on the wall around the fishing, the little fishing station that's in the middle of the store. There's a few paintings.
Have to hunt those out. Now, what are we going to see at the display at the Edith Wheeler Library in Monroe?
Okay, that is going to be kind of a mixed collection of oil paintings and watercolors, mostly fish. There'll be a lot of bass paintings and trout. Some landscapes. I've got some dog pictures. It's just, like I say, it's going to be oils and watercolors. I will have a lot of prints for sale too. So some originals. I'm borrowing some paintings back from people too, because I just don't have enough, and some of the people have bought things I'm just going to use just for the show. And but there'll be some small landscapes, like I said, oils, watercolors, and some prints.
Any special events for the opening of the show, which is April 6th?
April 6th, yeah. Well, we're going to have a little refreshments and an opening reception at the library from 7 to 9 that night. And people are certainly invited to come out. The public is welcome. And that show is going to run right through the month of April. It's going to end on the 28th. I take everything down the 29th. But that night will be a little more special, I think, because of, I'll have just everything out in the open for people. If they want to look through prints or they want to buy a print, it's a lot easier that night. And otherwise, if they just come during the week, they can reach me. I'll have contact information, and then we can talk if there's something they like.
And what are the times of the opening reception?
At 7 to 9.
7 to 9.
Friday night.
Do you have a website for people who are interested in seeing your art?
Yes, I do. Just got that up and running. It's a little long address, but it's Milo Fish at Wix site and / my site. So it's a little long until I get the domain name. But
and we'll have a link on the show link, so you'll be able to find it there if you're interested in seeing Jonathan's work. Favorite places to fish around here without spot burning?
Well, I said earlier that I grew up on Lake Forest, so that's still a favorite. 'Cause there's a few coves, really nice coves in there, and some islands. So that's got a really special place in my heart. The Dock Skurlick part of the Saugatuck, I grew up or I should say I cut my teeth fly fishing.
It's such a beautiful place to learn, and such a tremendous place to learn.
Yeah. And I just discovered kind of an unnamed pond in Newtown that I was starting to explore with my canoe and to try some spinning for bass on that. Even the upper parts of the Saugatuck in Redding, there was some spots that I really enjoyed being in. Much more secluded, harder to get to, smaller, not as wide as the Dock Skurlick part. But some really great spots on the Saugy.
And that's a great place to learn, and we'll talk more about that another time. But I really love the paintings here. Anything big coming up in the future in terms of additional shows? Or?
This is my 4th solo show. So they're kind of spread out. It's been, I think, 20 years since my first show. So it takes a while to even amass the paintings to put on the show. I'm just, like I said, the website's new, so that's where I want to be able to even put a store on that and be able to sell from that. And so that's probably where it's going, is hopefully where I can get a little bit more public with the work and be able to get it out there. And if people want to reach me, it'll be a lot easier now. And so that's the goal, really. And I just have a million ideas that I've made rough sketches for, and so I'm always just trying to see which painting is next.
I'm hoping to get you out on the river in the near future, talk a little bit more. I'm hoping this is not the last visit to the studio, and let us know what's going on so we can share your work with our viewers.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be back with more Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop, right after this. Well, there's still a bite out on the water. Most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
Now teeing off, Paul Miller from Miller Nissan in Fairfield.
Excuse me, Mr. Miller. What about my new Sentra?
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
He is never going to retire.
At Galt, we always put you first. As your full-service home heating partner, we provide expert delivery, installation, and maintenance for all your heating needs with knowledgeable, friendly professionals that give you peace of mind 24/7. Galt Family Companies, you first since 1863.
At Rings End, we say it's time to re-love your home. Time to refresh and reinvigorate the way you live. And whether you're redoing something big or small, remember the letters RE stand for Rings End. We're the new model in home remodeling.
Welcome back to Yankee Fisherman, presented by the Dock Shop. Thursday, April 5th. Want to thank everybody from the Deerfield River Watershed chapter of TU. Want to thank Jonathan Milo for their help today. We're getting closer to spring, closer to opening day. The Fairfield PAL will hold its annual Trout Derby Saturday, the 7th. That's from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. That's at Gould Manor Park, 749 Holland Hill Road in Fairfield. Registration opens at 7:30. It's open to ages 3 to 15. It's a lot of fun. We're going to try to swing by Gould Manor on Saturday morning. If you can't make that, the 50th big milestone Milford Trout Derby, that's sponsored by the Milford Striped Bass Club. That is on Saturday, May 5th. We'll have more info on that. Stratford's having a catch and release derby on May 5th as well, 6:30 to 8:30 a.m. at Brewster Pond in Stratford. And the 15th annual Monroe Police Fishing Derby is set for Saturday, May 19th. We'll have info on all of those at your local HAN website and on Yankee Fisherman websites, posters. Also Saturday, April 7th is the Mianus TU Banquet. Online auction has already started. The online auction and tickets can be found at mianustu.org. On April 17th, Nutmeg TU will host Jeff Yale. Last year he was here on Yankee Fisherman. He's going to talk with Nutmeg TU, and really it's open to anybody, about what he talked about with us last year, and that is Fishing Lake Salt and Stall. It's a resource that people may not realize is open for them to use, and the chapter is also planning a trip there. Jeff's talk is at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, April 17th. That's at Port 5, 69 Brewster Street in Bridgeport. Nutmeg TU also has some spots open on its May 23rd trip to the Limestone Club. We profiled them a couple of months back. It's a private club with ponds, big fish. You can get information on the trip at nutmegtrout.org. Fisherman's Paradise in Milford has moved. They moved basically across the parking lot. So they're still just across the Devon Bridge from Stratford. They're right on the Housatonic. Official opening of new stores coming up any day now. And it should be a very interesting location. We'll be talking to Mike from Fisherman's Paradise in the very near future. That will be the site May 4th through 6th of the Hook 'em on the Hoosie Derby. It's a kayak and boat tournament that will cover from the mouth of the Housatonic to the Derby Dam. brdfishing.org. That's brdfishing.org for more information on Hook 'em on the Hoosie, and we'll be talking more about that during the weeks to come. Ron Murley, great friend of the show, great friend of mine. He is the author of the Fly Fisher's Guide to Connecticut. He will speak to Farmington Valley TU on Thursday, April 19th. That's from 6:30 to 9 p.m. at the Back Nine Tavern at the Stanley Golf Course, 245 Hartford Avenue in New Britain. More information at fvtu.org. Big events coming up. We're going to have more details in the very near future. The Pequannock River Fest, and it's going to be part of the larger biennial celebration of World Fish Migration Day. Nutmeg TU and Connecticut's Beardsley Zoo working together on this event. There's going to be tree plantings, birds of prey demonstrations, a river cleanup, walk-in which will sample the macroinvertebrates and microinvertebrates living in the Pequannock River, a chance to learn how to fly cast, a chance to fish. Going to be a really fun event. That is going to be Saturday, April 21st at Beardsley Zoo. We'll have more details on that. Connecticut Fund for the Environment Save the Sound also will be celebrating World Fish Migration Day that day. They're going to have fish ladder tours at multiple places. One will be the brand new Norotan River Fishway. That is right at the Boatyard, 1308 East Main Street in Stamford, and we'll be profiling that on next week's Yankee Fisherman. We were there while they were finishing the construction of that Norotan River Fishway. There's a Pequannock, there's a fish ladder that'll be part of the Pequannock River Fest in Bridgeport. There'll be staffers there to talk about the how the fish ladders help migrating fish. Like I said, we'll have more about that on next week's Yankee Fisherman. And then there'll be a planting at Stratford Point on Sunday, April 22nd with Soundkeeper Bill Lucy, State Rep Joe Gresco of Stratford, the Biology Department of Sacred Heart, and they're going to plant in the grass marsh there. That's to help restore the eroding shoreline. We will be talking more about that in the days to come. That's going to do it for this week's Yankee Fisherman. We'll be back next week. Till then, get out, get some fishing in, tight lines.